Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Township Committee meeting of December the 10th of 2019. Ms. Bork, will you please call the roll?
Committeewoman Holmes.
Here.
Committeeman Lapani.
Here.
Committeewoman McCauley. Here. Deputy Mayor Thompson. Mayor Delcourt.
Here.
Administrator Ferraro.
Here.
Attorney Willard.
Here.
Attorney Bernstein.
Here. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be advised that in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, that notice of this meeting was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex and notifying the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex at 7:30 p.m. on December the 10th, 2019. First up on our agenda, we have approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the March 13th, 2019 executive session minutes?
So moved.
Have a
second. Second.
Any comments from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley. Abstain. Mayor Delcourt.
Yes. And may I have a motion to approve the April 9th, 2019 executive session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the dais? Comments from the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
And Mayor Delcourt.
Yes. And finally, yes, finally. May I have a motion to approve the May 7th, 2019 executive session minutes?
So move, Mayor.
Second.
Comments from the dais? From the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
Mayor Delcourt.
Yes.
Mayor, not on your set, but on the agenda is also the November 12th regular session.
Oh, okay. And can I have a motion to approve the November 12th, 2019 executive?
Regular.
Session meeting?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Comments from the dais? From the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
Mayor Delcourt.
Yes. We'll move to reports from committee liaisons. First up is Committeewoman McCauley.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Just a few notes from me. Our local PBA 205 did a Stuff the Bus at ShopRite. I think it was last weekend. So thank you to all those who stopped by to participate. It's for a great cause, and there was a great support on this initiative. So I'm sure they'll continue doing that. So stay tuned for some of the other events they might be doing in 2020, and we'll certainly keep you apprised of that. A quick reminder, there might be a little snow tomorrow, so of course safety is always at our best, right around the snow time. So just a reminder that it is illegal to keep snow on your vehicles, on the top of your vehicles, on hoods, cars, etc., because it can be very dangerous, especially when ice is involved. As you know, it can slide off and hit the car behind you. But you can get fined. I think it's $25 to $75 for each offense, regardless of whether the ice or snow is even dislodged from your vehicle. And if flying ice or snow causes property damage or any injury to others, the fine will increase. It could be up to $200 to $1,000 in fines. So make sure before you're heading out that you kind of brush everything off the car. That's really it for me this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Lapani.
Thank you, Mayor. From the Finance Committee, just a couple of notes here. For you pet owners, the 2020 dog licenses will be mailed out during the last week of December. If you no longer have your pet, please indicate that on your form, return it. And if you've moved and that has forwarded with you, please indicate that your new address and send that in also. From the Building Department, just a constant reminder, if you're hiring a contractor, is it your best interest to stay in communication with that contractor as far as the progress with permitting and with the Department of building to make sure everything is is in the loop, I should say, and don't just rely on them to get everything done, because that's where miscommunication happens. And lastly, from the engineering department, if you're a business owner or a condominium association or an apartment complex is repaving their parking lot, permits must be obtained through the engineering department. There is a NJDEP mandate that if parking lots are repaved, any storm drainage inlets must be modified to meet the new stormwater regulations. The curb inlets must have smaller head openings to prevent bottles and cans from entering the storm system. Please contact the engineering department to go over the permit process. The NJDEP requires that the township to enforce these requirements. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeewoman Holmes.
Thank you, Mayor. Join us at Temple Bethel on December 27th, the 6th night of Hanukkah at 6 p.m. for a Shabbat Hanukkah service and a community-wide menorah lighting. Bring your family's favorite Hanukkah and 7 candles. The Winter Activities Guide is on our website, and registration for winter programs is open. We offer programs for a variety of age groups, from toddlers to adults. Keep your kids active over the winter with the Recreation Department. A few programs that are highlighting are Super Soccer Stars, an interactive preschool sports program for children ages 3 through 5. Also, an indoor soccer skills and drills program for children in kindergarten through 8th grade, run by the high school varsity coach, Leonard Bitter. And musical theater, which is an 8-week program to show our 3rd through 8th graders what it takes to put on a musical production. Please check the Parks and Recreation website at www.hillsboroughrecreation.org to see the Winter Activities Guide. Thank you.
Okay, a couple notes for me tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank the Somerset County freeholders for their $5,000 grant. It's not a real check. For the Hillsborough Youth Services Commission, Pastor Tim Wolf and Freeholder Director Brian Levine, pictured here, were part of the check ceremony. We always appreciate grant monies from the county, and we thank them for their support of our youth services programs. Back on November the 16th, we had one of our annual cleanup days. I'd like to thank our Public Works Department, the Health Department, and our Parks Department. They had a joint effort to put forth the Township-wide Cleanup Day. This event is also made possible by grant monies that we received from New Jersey Clean Communities Grant, and it also gave a sneak peek into our new local superhero, which is Captain Clean. You'll hear more about her at our meeting next week at the Township Committee here. But thanks everyone for their cleanup efforts, and I appreciate all the volunteers that came out as well to help beautify our already beautiful town. You may recall that in October we had announced reserved parking here at the Municipal Complex for seniors. We now also have a dedicated parking spot in front of the building for Hillsborough veteran. So we did the kickoff of that session of that parking spot last month, and I'd like to thank the veterans that came out to help us with the dedication ceremony there. Last Friday, we had our annual Christmas tree lighting. I'd like to thank all the residents that came out for that event. We had a tremendous crowd. Thanks also to, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Claus who came out, the elves, but our Parks and Recreation Department, the FLAGTOWN Fire Company, which delivered Santa to the children here, and all the volunteers that helped kick off the holiday season with the tree lighting. Everything went off without a hitch, and we had a really nice night. The weather held up, and always a fun event. So thank you to everyone that came out to help us get our holiday season kicked off. And to stay connected, there are many ways here in Hillsborough you can stay connected with what's going on with the Township Committee or just events in town. We have our Friday e-newsletter and our Twitter feed. We also have our TV 29 and Hillsborough YouTube channels, which showcase our meetings and also the Hillsborough The Good Life episodes. And we also offer the Hillsborough alerts for traffic and emergency notifications. So please stay connected, so especially with the issues like inclement weather. We'll keep you posted on any road closures or any issues along those lines. Okay, we're going to move on now to our proclamations. We have several of them tonight. I would ask that once you've received your recognition, if you could please return to your seat. We will pause after all the recognitions are complete to allow for an orderly departure, but we want to make sure everyone gets the opportunity to get their recognition without the disruption of people leaving the room here. So first up, I'd like to call up Brendan O'Kane for his Eagle Scout project. Brendan O'Kane, a senior at Hillsborough High School and a member of Boy Scout Troop 1776, has recently earned the rank of Eagle Scout. Brendan's Eagle Scout project consisted of building a lacrosse wall to provide players a dedicated spot to practice shooting and passing. Brendan dedicated the wall to his friend that passed away from leukemia and memorialized his love for lacrosse. The wall was designed with the assistance of an architect, built primarily with the wood donated by A&B Landscaping, and covered with skate light. The project took 150 hours with a total of 30 volunteers over 2 days. Brendan served as senior patrol leader, assistant patrol leader of service, assistant senior patrol leader of programming in Troop 1776. He participated in the Johnson & Johnson Technology Program, the Mountain Ski Club, and the Loudspeakers Club. Brendan is also a coach of the Hillsborough Township Recreation Department. The Loudspeakers Club, that's a new one. The Hillsborough Township Committee recognizes and extends its sincere congratulations to Brendan for having achieved the rank of Eagle Scout, an honor for both himself and for those who guided him, and best wishes for a bright future. Brendan, congratulations.
Can I see what the T-shirt looks like?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Delcor. Thank you, committee. I was going to mention people, but Mr. Delcor already mentioned them. A&B Landscaping was a great help. All the people in Scouts were a great help. And overall, thank you, everyone. And congratulations to everyone else who's out here tonight with a proclamation. Thank you.
Okay, can I have the 2019 Hillsborough High School boys varsity soccer team? All right, you guys gotta split up a little bit.
Left forwards, right forwards, left hash, right hash.
Yeah, spread out. 30.
You guys can go in the middle.
We can hide.
Since you're right here, give that to you. Okay. The Hillsborough High School varsity boys soccer team had another very successful season, achieving a 13-4-1 record in the season, and they were the 2019 Skyline Conference champions. The Hillsborough High School varsity boys soccer team was led by Coach Eric Pluma and assistant coach Fernando Vera, and consisted of the following young athletes. All right, guys, you're going to announce your own names. Nice and loud. First and last.
Gabriel Rigo. Gabriel Rigo.
Adam Samble.
Brian Mostowski.
Adam McCaffrey.
Jake Lafer.
Devin Meissner.
Dean Sonville.
Brett Smith.
Coleman Clark. Dimitri Ramirez.
Juan Medellin.
Josh Hartman.
Jack Bird.
Alexander Ford.
Zach Hoyda. Henry Cruz.
Remy Valier.
Alex Cervantes.
Christian Tyson.
Garrett Smith.
Massimo Sasso. Dino Portillo.
Braden Tucker.
Tyler Watson. Jamie Money.
The Hillsborough Township Committee commends the Hillsborough High School varsity boys soccer team, the coaches and parents, not only for their successful season, but for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to the sport, and to those principles of good sportsmanship, teamwork, and academic achievement, which the organization endorses. Congratulations, guys. Another fantastic season. We're really proud of you.
On behalf of the players and their families, thank you to the mayor, thank you to the Township Committee. We all sincerely appreciate this recognition. I want everyone to know that these are first-class individuals, and that's why we have a first-class team. They do a great job of supporting one another. They've worked very hard. They're coachable, they're accountable. I'm very proud of them, not only for what they do on the field, but what they've done in the community. As you've noted, they've donated dozens of hours volunteering in the community in different service opportunities. Very proud of them for how they represent Hillsborough. So thank you. Appreciate this recognition.
Just get close.
Guys standing up, turn sideways, kneeling.
We should move these tables, it's such a big.
I gotta do one spot row. You guys just gotta sit.
Wish I had them stand up. She's pretty good. They're actually pretty good.
What are we doing? Hands in front, hands in the back. Hands in the front, hands in the back. In the front.
Stop talking, stop moving.
Beat them up. I think somebody was among here.
Don't move.
One more, hold on. Hold on. Pam, behind you. Pam, never mind. You photobombed.
Okay, on the count of three, you're going to say Hillsborough, the good life. Really loud, really loud. Okay?
Or you gotta do it again.
This age group hates to do that.
You'll be on the next video.
One,
The little kids will do it.
three.
That's so
The cheerleaders were better.
I know, yeah, the cheerleaders are always better, they just know how to yell.
That seems like 7-year-old is better, but I'm just saying. Okay, can I have the varsity gymnastics team?
Split up, split up. Half on one side.
Go on one side, no matter which.
All right.
Mayor's going to know.
So cute.
Whereas the 2019 Hillsborough High School varsity gymnastics team had another very successful season due to their hard work and dedication. And whereas the 2019 Hillsborough High School varsity gymnastics team achieved a 10-0 record in dual meets, first place in Somerset County Championship, the Skyline Conference champions, Central 2 sectional champions, and 5th place at the state championship. You can applaud. And whereas the 2019 Hillsborough High School varsity gymnastics team consists of the following young athletes:
Nikki Jessup, Asta Patel, Katie Weiner, Katina Coyle, Isha Gupta,
Michelle Lopez.
Samantha Ringel, Gia Sharma, Kayla Quinta, Sarah Pele.
Whereas the team was led by head coach Sarah Paley, assistant coach Brittany Markissian, and volunteer coach Beth Murrin. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the mayor and the Hillsborough Township Committee, do hereby commend the Hillsborough High School varsity gymnastics team, the coaches and parents, not only for their successful season, but for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to the sport and to those principles of good sportsmanship, teamwork, and academic achievement which the organization endorses. Thank you very much for the pride you brought to Hillsborough, another very successful season, and we look forward to seeing what you guys are going to do in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Delcourt and the Township Committee for taking the time tonight to honor these athletes. They're an extremely dedicated and hardworking team who earned every bit of success that they had this season. So, thank you.
All together.
Wish up.
Okay, ready? You guys are going to be the boys, ready? You know what to do. On a count of three. It's
Hillsborough
Hillsborough
Good
Life.
I got a
Ready?
yeah.
And then a yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I was on the varsity gymnastic team in high school.
I forgot. Sorry.
We had a bunch, I think, right?
Okay, I'm going to ask my colleagues if they could join me down here for this last proclamation.
But the person I was earlier.
It's really bad when you hit the button and don't know your names.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah.
So we pretty regularly get to honor a number of our employees here, and wanted to make sure that we got a chance to recognize our administrator here. Township Administrator Anthony Ferreira has served as Township Administrator since August 2012 and is a productive, dedicated, and exemplary member of the Hillsborough Township Committee as Mayor in 2007 and 2008, Deputy Mayor in 2006, and on the committee from March 2004 through December 31st of 2011. He has served diligently the people of Hillsborough in a variety of areas. He was awarded the 2019 Spirit of Somerset Award for volunteerism for his work as New Jersey Organization for Autism Research President, and was recognized by OR in September 2018 in appreciation for his support for families with autism. Anthony was also awarded the Outstanding Manager by the New Jersey Municipal Managers Association in 2017. He became a member in June of 2014. and was appointed to the NJMMA Executive Board in November of 2017. Additionally, Anthony was the recipient of the 2008 Disability Advocate Award. Through his career in public service, Anthony has displayed professionalism, leadership, compassion, and commitment to the citizens of Hillsborough through his service. The Hillsborough Township Committee hereby recognizes and thanks Township Administrator Anthony Ferreira for his outstanding service and dedication to the residents of Hillsborough and for his outstanding work, not just for the township, in his volunteer efforts, and we're very glad that your volunteerism got recognized earlier this year. Anthony, congratulations. It's a pleasure to work with you, and thank you very much for all you do. I thought twice about giving him the mic.
Thank you, Mayor and committee. Definitely a surprise. So I'm usually there hitting the slideshow with Pam. So thank you for not putting that slide when I reviewed them prior to the meeting tonight. But in all seriousness, I appreciate being recognized tonight, and it's really the employees here in the township and really the mayor and committee that allow me the opportunity to be as flexible as we can with the committee, allowing me to, again, to work with all the employees here in the township, but also the great residents of the town. So without the residents and the employees and the team here allowing me to do that, we really couldn't get this award. So it's nice for an individual award, but it's really the people that are behind you and that support you and all the folks on my team. So thank you, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not going to be yelling Hillsborough the Good Life Day either.
We're going to make them.
Yeah. Please do Hillsborough the Good Life.
Okay, as promised, that's the end of our proclamations for this evening. We're going to get on to our regular agenda. You are more than welcome to stay, but we understand it's a busy time of year, so if you do, we're going to take a quick break, let people leave if they would like to. Congratulations to all our proclamation recipients this evening, and thank you for joining us, and we'll reconvene in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Okay, once again, thank you to everyone that was here for their proclamations. We have no new business on the agenda tonight, so our next piece of business is public comment on matters that are not on tonight's agenda. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on any matters that are not on the agenda, can come forward now.
Jane Stats, 101 Devonshire Court. I just wanted to thank you, Mayor Delcourt, for including information about the school referendum in your weekly newsletter. It's very important, as I'm sure you're aware, to inform the public as much as possible about anything on which they're going to vote, which it just ended at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And also including sending out an email last night to remind people to vote today. So I really appreciate your input with that. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming up. Any other comments from the public?
It's my first time doing these.
It's okay.
I need to talk.
Just anything that's not on the agenda.
Okay, okay.
I
So
need I'm sorry, your name and address for the record.
Sure.
please.
Sweta Shaw James, 282 Shelburne Place. So my husband has been in touch with, I think, Pam.
Can you
and,
speak into the mic? So,
Yep. So my husband has been in touch with Pam and I want to say David from the planning board. So we moved on the street about a year and a half ago, new construction on our street. They're looking to, so when we bought the house, it was, we're at the end of a cul-de-sac. They're looking to expand the street, so they're building more homes, all of that has been approved. So I think what we're up against now is that where we live right now, the street that we're on, it's a public street. The new street that they're basically extending is going to be a private street. So we want to close the cul-de-sac because it's going to continue on, and then the circle is going to be at the end of the cul-de-sac. But I think what we're up against right now is that because it's a private street, public street, how the plow is going to work and all of that, that's kind of an open item right now. So I've been in touch with our builder, and basically he's willing to do whatever the township recommends. But being that we live on the end of the cul-de-sac right now, we want that to be closed up along with our neighbors who live there. So I just,
Just so I'm clear, when you say closed up, I'm just not sure I'm
so
following.
right now it's a circle, right?
Right.
So it's a
Mhm.
street.
And
then
that's going to be
there's-
extended because there's a new development going in?
Correct,
Right?
correct. So I think what they're talking about is keeping that circle as it is,
Uh-huh.
extending the street, and then there'll be another circle there,
Correct.
which is just very odd looking.
Mhm.
And when we bought the house, we thought we were going to be at the end of the cul-de-sac permanently. We didn't know they were going to build more homes there, right? So that plan has changed, and we want to make sure that the street
Yeah.
also changes along with that plan.
If I remember correctly, and Sean, you may remember better than I think when this matter actually went to planning board, I think the general feedback from the public that was approved at the planning board is that's how they wanted it. But, Sean, is that correct?
Well, yeah, I guess there's been some dialogue, Mary,
Yeah.
that's originally, but the matter of the issue is when because it's a private road, is where the township or the plow ends and had the ability to turn around. So they're looking at that in some other way, maybe to reconfigure it with some way for the municipal plow to be able to turn around and leave without going onto the private road.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing dialogue with engineering to see how they could configure that and make everybody happy.
Okay.
But there does need some way for the plow to be able to turn around, whether it contains the circle or some other configuration.
Okay, because I mean, from the, year and a half that we've been living there, we saw the plow like twice, right? Because we haven't gotten that much snow. But when the plow did come, it was a truck. It was like a small truck that can easily just turn around just like a car could, right? So I guess I'm not quite understanding like what the big deal would be to turn around, because
Well, if it's a straight road, okay, without the cul-de-sac, you gotta remember, sometimes you may have a pickup truck now, but if there's a lot of snow, you may have to have a larger truck to push that snow. So you have to have enough turn for any vehicle that comes down that road with a plow to turn around. So even a pickup truck with a plow, if that road was your normal width, would have to do a K-turn at best to turn around and go the other way. And then also, what does he do with the snow that he's pushing? Does he leave it at the end of the driveway of the public road? So he has to be able to put it somewhere so as not to block the private road. So that's part of the whole thought process.
Okay. And are there any other streets, I guess, in Hillsborough that are in this kind of situation, where there is a private road that kind of continues and then or a public road that continues and it's private? Because I'd be curious, like, how is that handled there? Because I imagine that there's no circle there, right? So, I would ask that you guys consider that as well. Like, how is that handled for other streets that are out there? Can't imagine this is the only one in Hillsborough. But, as a resident, I'm requesting that you guys close it out, because it's just going to look really odd on our street.
It's not really close the road, but get rid of the...
Yeah,
Eliminate the
maybe it's not the right
get rid of
term,
the
but
semicircle.
straighten it out. I guess
Yeah.
that's the right
Yeah.
word, straighten it out.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Noted, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments from the floor? Okay, we're going to move on then to our next item. Before we move to public hearings, with the consent of my colleagues, I'd like to move on resolution number 12 in the consent agenda. Resolution 12 is a resolution authorizing the hiring of Eileen Rhine to the position of part-time floater for the Township of Hillsborough. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 12?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Roll call, please.
Mayor, sorry. I was going to look back over. So I just wanted to welcome Ms. Ryan. We had a lot of resumes coming in for this position, and we felt that she would be in the best position here for the township with customer service and experience that she has. That would be a great fit here, not only through administration, but through the other departments as well. So happy to have her on board.
We agree. Okay, can I have a roll call?
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Chairman Lapani.
Yes, and welcome,
Chairman
Eileen.
McCauley.
Yes, and welcome.
Mayor Delcor.
Welcome to the township, yes. Okay, thank you for moving that item forward. I just didn't want to have her wait for the entire session to get that approved. Okay, we're going to move on to public hearings. First up is ordinance 2019-20, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use and Development, Article 5, Districts and Standards, Section 188-106, the I-1, I-2, I-3 light industrial districts of the Code of the Township of Hillsborough, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. As many of you that are here know, this ordinance has been held over from previous meetings. So we had a special session earlier today to kind of go through some executive issues regarding potential litigation. So, as you know, we've held this over because we were working to try to figure out if there was another resolution or another scenario that we could implement in this zone, on this property, related to our affordable housing plan that would provide some relief and some satisfaction to the residents that were surrounding that area, and also ensure that we're still able to move forward with our affordable housing plan. A couple of weeks ago, we had a case management conference. That is a session where we go through and discuss our affordable housing program and the specific projects, and that includes the interveners, that includes the affordable housing judge that's assigned to our case, in this case Judge Miller. It included our affordable housing counsel, our township administrator, myself, as well as our special court master. During the course of that session, we were advised by the judge, or we kind of advised what we were looking to do. The developer and the applicant, if you will, also stated where they were with the judge in sort of separate hearings. The judge indicated he would come back and rule as to where he was going to proceed. Last Friday, the judge ruled, he issued an order essentially that said that we needed to move forward with the approval of the zone as part of the plan, because it is part of the overall plan that was initially submitted to the courts, and that failure to do so by our next meeting, obviously, which is today, would run the risk of us losing our immunity against all of our other affordable housing cases that are currently moving forward. So, as we are not in a position to be able to lose our immunity, we're going to move forward with the process of voting on this this evening. But that discussion that we had that was around the potential litigation and the judge's orders that came forth. Counselor, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that.
For purposes of the record, Your Honor, as I indicated to the governing body in executive session, basically Judge Miller has given you, for all intents and purposes, one last chance to adopt this. He found you an anticipatory breach of the settlement agreement because the ordinance was not adopted within 60 days of the introduction. And basically, you're being given one last chance tonight. With that comes additional immunities for the municipality if such occurs. If it does not, then we are going to not only run, we are going to be at severe risk relative to not only this project, but all the other outstanding issues we have involving our affordable housing plan. I cannot with greater impact indicate to all of you that you should follow His Honor's order to the letter.
Okay. So, can I have a motion to continue the public hearing on ordinance 2019-20?
So move, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other discussion from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Please just state your name and address for the record.
Carmela Cerise, 118 Hamler Road, Hillsborough. I just have a couple questions.
You got to get close to the mic because it only picks up. So.
It's just so the camera picks it up.
Okay. It's customarily for the planning board to submit a letter of recommendation to the council regarding this change in the zoning. Was that received by the council?
It's not, because it's not we did not receive hasn't been formally presented.
The planning board approved the adoption of the ordinance. I believe that the clerk's office was apprised of that, whether it came either in a resolution or a letter, I'm not absolutely sure, but ostensibly the governing body was advised by the planning board that it was recommending the adoption of this ordinance.
So that's
was-
not
was-
available to the I mean,
Well,
customarily, it is prepared by the planning board.
The resolution was done at planning board, and it was indicated to move it forward to the township committee.
Okay,
So those, and the planning board hearings are on camera. There's minutes and resolutions that come from those meetings as well.
okay.
I don't remember the exact date of the meeting, but it was late summer
Actually, it was October, I believe.
at planning board?
No, yeah, between the first and second reading of here.
Okay, early fall.
And that included both the pros and the cons of the...
The entire discussion of the...
Okay. In keeping, I understand the situation that you're in litigation-wise, but in keeping with the town's planning objectives related to protecting wetlands and their buffers, as written in Hillsborough's master plan and subsequent reexamination reports, and also discussed at the planning board meeting held in November, I implore and ask you to strongly consider including a condition to this ordinance that there be no development in the overlay zone that encroaches on wetlands and their buffers.
Yeah, so I'm glad you raised that. So just, and I should have mentioned this earlier, so forgive me for not. So what we are doing here is simply the zoning process, right? So we're changing the zone to accommodate a potential development as part of our affordable housing plan. It is not the site plan. It is not the approval of what will ultimately be built there. It's simply creating the zoning that will go into that. Clearly, from a wetlands perspective, and this has been discussed a couple of times as part of the process, that is something that would be discussed at the site plan timeframe. DEP is pretty rigorous in trying to enforce those, and any development would still have to have all of the approvals from all of the regulatory agencies. So we have to basically put forward a program that's compliant with the state requirements, and the zoning does. The builder cannot encroach upon that without getting significant approval waivers from a number of state agencies, because that's all part of the process that, from a planning board perspective, we would have to approve.
Well, I'm talking about more than just the state requirements. I'm talking about the master plan for Hillsborough itself, for our master plan for development in the township of Hillsborough.
Yeah, I'm not sure the master plan is the right place to do a criteria that indicates we don't, that's kind of a given that you don't encroach on the wetlands, but it's something we could take a look at. I think, I don't know if Mr. Maskey's still, he's not here, right? From a planning perspective, but we can look at it. I'm just not sure. I don't think the master plan is the place where that, it's really part of the zoning and requirements that would go forward.
Our master plan does comment on encroachment on wetlands, and we are talking about an extremely sensitive area.
Correct.
Where I lived in this development for over 25 years. I've seen water come from that area, gouge out a ravine in a neighbor's driveway. I've seen neighbors with their belongings on their front street on Kimberly Road. I've seen my entire neighborhood stuck in the development because there's no way in and there's no way out. When my children attended Temple Bethel, I stood in that parking lot with water up to my ankles. So we just got done hearing about Hillsborough, what a great place to live. I don't know how great of a place it's going to be if we continue encroaching on wetlands. And trust me, I know that property over there, and I know it well. Bamboo grows over there. It's wet. It is so wet that water can't even, it's not even strong enough to be able to absorb the water that already comes now. And now we're talking about a development that's going to take up even more potential area where water can be absorbed. So Hillsborough, the Great Life, I don't know how great it's going to be for any of us if this continues. So I'm asking you to put a contingency on this ordinance, this change in the overlay, to ensure that there will be no building on wetlands or its buffers. And that's in your
But the ordinance already has specific buffers, and the requirements from a wetlands perspective are delineated. That's a requirement that only the DEP can approve that. We can't approve a scenario of wetlands without DEP approval. So there's a regulatory body at the state that has to dictate that. There are requirements for setbacks and buffer areas that are part of the zoning requirements we have in every zone.
I'm asking you just to strongly consider that.
Hi, my name is Vicki Schwartz, 607 Van Loo Court. I also wanted to speak about the wetlands on the property. I have some information which I can give you. There is a particular type of wetland that has special protection under the Freshwater Wetlands Protection Act. It's called a vernal pool, which is a temporary pond. There's certain requirements that are needed to certify a vernal pool, including no permanent outlet and specific amphibian or reptile species that breed there. There is, in fact, a certified vernal pool on the property. I have a printout from the landscape project that shows the location of the pool on the property and one also on the adjacent property. So the vernal pools are special places that are fragile and need protection, and they have protection under the law, a specific buffer that can range from 50 to 150 feet. So I ask in your planning if you can consider this as well, that we have something special there that requires protection.
We'd be happy to take a look at that. If you could just hand it to Ms. Borak, we'll take that into consideration.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mayor, if I might. So a lot of the concerns, this doesn't end today. Obviously, the planning board would then be a good place for all you to show up and express your concerns again. By then, there will be a plan submitted, and if the DEP should deem any restrictions on that property, it will be then delineated on the plan, so that you'll have a good idea what and if anything, can be built on this property. So I implore you to pay attention in the future, when this goes through, to show up at the planning board process and help the township build what can be built there properly. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments from the floor?
Frank Kulmer, 144 Taylor. Why here? Why here? So if we're deciding to build, you need to be under whatever section, whatever that it needs to be in there, right? Affordable Housing Act, whatever that we have to do from Mount Laurel decision. Why here? Why is the zoning happening here? Hillsborough is a pretty large place.
Because you have a property owner that's...
You're giving the rights to that. Township is.
Correct.
Right? So why here?
Because we have responsibilities to fulfill our...
Are we having responsibilities, sorry to interrupt, are we having responsibilities because of other housing developments that we did not do a part of the affordable housing?
No, there are...
So why are we deciding to build?
So
and why here?
So if you let me answer your question, I will. Because we don't get to choose where housing gets built. That's not our responsibility. There's property rights that property owners have, and there's an affordable housing process that the state Supreme Court has indicated through a number of iterations that each municipality has a requirement to ensure that there's an affordable housing element in every development that gets built.
You do get to decide. A yes, a yes, and a...
We get to decide the zone.
Correct.
We don't get to decide ultimately what gets built until
But
it
if we
gets a planning
don't do
board.
the zoning, then they don't get the bill.
Correct, but if we don't do the zoning, then we don't get to keep our immunity, which means every other developer that we have that wants to build affordable housing will go to the judge and say, I can fulfill their affordable housing requirement, let me build what I want, and the judge will grant them that.
Including this developer,
Including this developer.
who is an intervener in a litigation. This is not some developer that came out of nowhere. This is one of the multiple interveners in the litigation in the township, of which there are affordable housing sites all over the township. We didn't center it on just this one. There are 7 other interveners, not including the Fair Share Housing Center, and a motion for an 8th. This is not a situation that the township is taking lightly, and is not where we are centering it in one place.
Have they asked for the zoning to be replaced?
Yes.
Yes. This is
And
one
you
of
have to
8
grant it?
projects that will help us fulfill the requirement that the state will mandate of us.
So they came to you, we want to do this development.
No, they filed a lawsuit
Got it?
against the township, seeking to come in and build the township's affordable housing obligation. This is one of them. They wanted to build more housing than actually is currently being zoned for. This was a resolution, not a happy one. None of them have been happy ones. We have been trying to reduce density all over town. And this is just one of the multiple that this has been going on before this governing body and the planning board for now at least 2 years, and more to come. So,
Okay. Thank you.
George Messina, Holly Road. Has any discussion been made about making this builder put an addition on Sunnymead School, since there's going to be such a big impact?
There's no application in front of us yet.
Is that possible that you can force this?
no. Off-track improvements are not permitted to be asked for by a planning board pursuant to both state statute and court decision.
What does that mean?
I mean, we can't make them do it.
Especially with an inclusionary development site like this one could be.
Is that within the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
Correct.
Because Bedminster, when they built the Hills, they built a school, a police department, and other stuff up there.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do, that was
Sure.
included?
They can offer to do that. They can.
But you can't force.
We can't force them, no.
Because the impact on this school is going to be ridiculous. I mean, with the stuff on Falcon Road and all these other developments, Sunnymead's bursting now.
Well,
How the hell is
look,
this gonna happen?
it's not just this development. You know, there's other developments that will be going in. What will ultimately happen is, and there's been discussions already with the Board of Ed that there's going to have to be, at some point, some redistricting. So I understand your point, but it's not really relevant from a zoning perspective, because ultimately, if there's an overcrowding at a school, there's going to have to be some redistricting as to which residents go to which schools.
Yeah, because it's really not fair to these teachers.
Yeah.
They're overburdened as it is.
Yeah.
I have no kids
Yeah.
in the system anymore.
Yeah.
My kids are out, but,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for these teachers.
Yeah, your point is noted, but that would get dealt with. We'd have discussions with the Board of Ed on how that would get handled. Thank you. Any other comments from the floor?
Yes, please.
Carmela Cerace, 118 Hamler Road. You mentioned about the requirement for Hillsborough. Can you elaborate exactly what is our requirement?
So we don't have our final settlement number yet, but essentially the 8 projects that Counselor indicated, or we're in the process of negotiating with, those are the ones that will meet the requirement. So there's been...
They will complete the meeting of the requirement. The township has been, since 1998, when this round started, engaged in ongoing building of multiple kinds of affordable housing. This is hopefully the last piece to the puzzle. This and the remaining interveners who are still in, and an ultimate settlement with the Fair Share Housing Center.
So I can't share with you the number, because one, we don't have it, and two, it's part of the settlement discussions that we will eventually, when we approve that, have to share. But we're still in no settlement. But these 8 projects that are being under consideration, I think we've approved 5 or 6, and a couple more still to go. When those are finally settled, that'll all be part of one package. That will be the final settlement that we'll agree through the courts. That'll satisfy our current obligation for the current round of affordable housing mandates.
So the council is aware of the number, it's just not something that is able to be disseminated to the public?
So we don't have a final number yet because we're not completely there yet. We're close, but it's not something that, from a settlement perspective, we're prepared to discuss.
That's just very ambiguous. I mean, are we
The
close?
number is still ambiguous. We are still working out percentages and realistic development plans and number obligations with the Fair Share Housing Center, who has been designated by the State Supreme Court in 2015 as the advocate on behalf of all of the affordable housing advocates within the state, and we are still in negotiations with them for a final number. So we are not hiding any number. The committee doesn't even know what the final number is, and I'm still working on the final number, and I'm the Affordable Housing Council.
So we are working to refill a number that we don't even know what that number is. And
No, we are looking to fill a number that we believe is our obligation in accordance with a multiple analysis, less than what Fair Share wants us to build.
Now, that number that you said we're close to, for the 8 projects, 5 of which you said have been approved, does this one on 206 is inclusive of that 8 or in addition to that 8?
We haven't approved it yet.
Well,
It's part of our settlement process, but we haven't approved the zone yet.
so 8 has been approved?
No.
6 has been
6.
approved. And out of this,
5, sorry.
out of the 5 that have been approved, and the other 2, not including this one, which would make 8, how many of them are located in sensitive areas? And I'll
So-
define sensitive areas, places with vernal pools.
So just to be clear, though, almost every property has some type of sensitive area. It's a matter of building on the property to ensure that you're not encroaching on those sensitive areas. And we understand that that has to occur, and that's what the planning board, when they get a site plan, is tasked to deal with. So I would venture to say every one of those projects has some type of sensitive area that has to be buffered, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I'll redefine sensitive. How many of those projects are as close in proximity to a river or a canal, like this particular?
I can't answer that off the top
At
of my
least
head.
one right off the top of my
Yeah.
head. A property that in fact the township bought that is, of which we are placing affordable housing on,
Sherman?
the Sherman property.
So the township has purchased a piece of property and has negotiated with the developer?
We have approved a Phase 1 development by a redeveloper, and as a potential settlement that we are waiting for court approval on would require a developer to build the other half of the site.
So the township has an opportunity to negotiate with other potential developers who would be willing to do a project here in the township, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And my understanding is that at one time, Hillsborough had a baseball complex on Woods Road, which is no longer being used as a baseball complex.
Yeah, correct.
And we own that property, correct?
It's green acres, it can't be built upon.
It's green acres.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and that's.
Sensitive area.
What's that?
Sensitive area.
Sensitive area because it's on that side of town and.
No, it's just
No.
green acres and
Yeah,
green
no,
acres.
it's on that side of the town.
No,
That's
green acres or parkland can't be built on. That's part of the problem that we had in getting our numbers for affordable housing to begin with. Hillsborough Township's 35% open space, so you have to understand that some of the property, a large part of our properties in Hillsborough Township are not residentially able to build upon.
You know, one of the great things that Manville did when they did their open land and Green Acres is they started purchasing properties that were not good places for development. And I don't see us doing that here in this town. We designated areas.
We just
So-
told you one that we did. With all due respect, we just told you we did that.
This township bought a property which is between two existing parkland that would have, in and of itself, if it had not been purchased, generated another several hundred affordable housing units and possibly a couple of thousand market rate units in our affordable housing number, which were taken off the market. Not every piece of property in the township can be built. We have been having this ongoing battle with fair share housing over every individual piece of property in the township that they consider to be developable versus we consider it to be developable, and this is where we are.
So basically, you just said that the township purchased a piece of property. The only other property that has close to a waterway and decided to build or to work with the builder to...
Ma'am, there are multiple properties in this township, as the mayor indicated, that have wetland restrictions, that have issues, that are environmentally sensitive, including, I believe, nearly every piece of property that's at issue in the interveners. We don't get to choose where we can build or not build in terms of this development issue. We have had ongoing issues with the special master on this project, with the court on this project, with the developer on this project. We understand the issues, and ultimately, as the mayor has indicated, when they come before the planning board, if they come before the planning board, they're going to have to meet all the conditions of not only the zoning, but the requirements of the state regarding encroachment into wetlands, buffer areas, sensitive situations, and the water runoff, and they're going to have to prove it. And if they can't prove it, then it's going to be a whole nother situation. It's within the purview of the planning board to reject their site plan.
I understand that. Again, I don't think the planning board or this committee has done enough to be able to decide where is the best place for Green Acres, and you're not doing enough for our side of the town, because our side of the town, like I said before, gets a lot of water. And so you can choose where Green Acres is designated. And so you're telling me on Woods Road, that can't be built because that's been designated Green Acres?
No, it was purchased as Green Acres. There was a park there. It's part of the Green Acres role that we have with the state. It's not that we just designated that. It's been Green Acres for a long time because there was a park there. That's why it was Green Acres. We used open space money to purchase it.
So is there any open space money now?
There is.
And what's
But that doesn't, but if there's open, so if we use open space money, it can't be built upon for the affordable housing element, and we're right back to where we.
Right, open space money to purchase that property, and then we can preserve the vernal pools, we can preserve the area, and reduce the flooding.
Sure, and then we lose our immunity, and we have more houses than we want built, and we lose control of where they get built. Is the area, is what we're trying to explain to you. That
Basically, you're telling me you already lost control because you have no control over this situation.
from a state perspective, not from a developer perspective, we have control only to limit the amount of development to exactly what we need in order to meet the affordable housing requirements. That's our requirement.
Thank you.
Mayor, the other thing is that the person would have to want to sell us the land. If by chance we want to purchase it. They don't have to sell us the land. We don't own it. It's private property. And if they can make more money selling it to a developer, why would they want to sell it to us?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Lewin Weil. I live at 8 Moore Road. Just following up a little bit on the affordable housing litigation, as you mentioned it, there are 8 interveners. This would be the 6th. This would address the 6th intervener.
Correct.
So there are two others still. Do you anticipate, does the Township Committee anticipate, excuse me, of course.
Just get closer to the mic if you could, so they can.
Does the Township Committee anticipate 2 additional zoning reordinances?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Shh. and relatively soon.
Is that available?
No, because
Not
they're
yet.
not finalized yet.
Okay. Can you give us what the number, fair share housing, hold on. I'm not asking for settlement numbers.
What Fair Share Housing is seeking?
What they sought initially when they filed their...
Over 1,600 affordable housing units.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments from the floor? Hi.
Tom Sulich, 161 Johansson Avenue. How you doing again? Couple questions on affordable housing. Where are these 8 projects located throughout the town?
Scattered. Some are on the south end of town, the eastern end of town, on Amwell Road.
Okay, so they're scattered throughout the town. So out of these 8 projects, that's going to handle 1,600 units?
No,
Affordable
that
housing?
was what was asked for. That's not what we're going to...
That's what Fair Share has initially been seeking. It will not be 1,600 units.
And we've been living in the town, in that neighborhood for about 26 years. And neighbors that have been there for a long time, Portland was built. We're a 20% non-permeable area in the township. So we can only build up to 18 to 20% of our area because it's a high water table and because we do have flooding issues. And residents that have been there for a long time after Cortland was built, which didn't adhere to those permeable levels, said that they never had flooding before the Cortland development was built. So if that happened when Cortland was built, how are we going to make sure that our development doesn't flood more? I'm very concerned about that because, as they said, we had some flooding from that zone. We had a river coming down between 2 people's houses into that. So we got to be very careful here, which leads to my next question. If DEP comes and decides that this is a wetland, no, this is a flood issue because it's a small stream, because we get flooded in, and they say, no, you can't build on that, what does that do to your plan?
We'll have to go back to the court and deal with it.
I asked that question.
And we've actually, as the mayor indicated when we were last before Judge Miller, that issue was raised, and he said, you'll have to come back and we'll have to deal with it.
And if a builder wants to build in the township, now that we have this requirement for the state legally to do affordable housing, can you force builders if they want to build a certain amount of affordable housing?
It's a requirement of every development now.
Any application in excess of 5 units is required to build to at least a 20% requirement. I will indicate that all of the projects we have looked at have been at 24%.
Okay. That leads me to my question on the development on Falcon Road and 206, sorry. How many units were built in that development? And how many affordable
That's Brookhaven Lofts.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, if my recollection is correct, I think it's somewhere around 200 affordable units.
204 units?
200 affordable.
Affordable. Okay, so there are affordable housing in that area.
That's one of our first projects, and I will indicate that they are back before the planning board on Thursday night with another application for some more housing and more affordable.
Okay. Did the builders that are planning, that want us to change the ordinance, did they suggest how they plan on alleviating any flooding with the building?
No, that would be an issue to be dealt with at the site plan discussion, because at that point, there'd have to be engineering studies done, there would have to be runoff engineering that would have to be completed, so they have to figure out a way to remediate the runoff that's coming off, but that gets dealt with at the site plan, not at the zoning level.
Okay. If it goes forward and they build and the DEP says you could do this, this, and this, and we do experience additional flooding, what recourse do we have as a neighbor?
It's a great question.
Okay. Something to consider. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Daniel Kopko from 104 Kimberly. My question is that pertaining to what you mentioned earlier, the best way for this to be avoided is for them to sell to Hillsborough as opposed to a developer. Has anyone looked into the possibility of using eminent domain for public use to convert the land to something to be a flood remediator?
On this particular one? No, but, you know, at this point, we're frankly beyond that point because
I understand you need to meet the legal precedents that are set before you. Would it be possible after the rezoning to meet the legal precedent of setting the rezoning, but then using eminent domain to acquire the
I
property?
can't say we've looked at that. I don't know. Yeah.
Just something that I was kicking around. Thank you.
Okay. Last
Your
call. Anyone
Honor,
else want to come up?
Just for the purpose of the record, I'd like to correct the number of affordable housing units at Brookhaven is 146.
Okay, last call. Anyone else? Okay.
Motion to close.
All right, with that, can I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2019-20?
Motion to close?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I ran for office because I didn't understand what was happening in Hillsborough and why developers were being able to tell us how our town looked. And sitting on this side of the dais and seeing what we're having to go through with being sued, you get a different perspective. I was in the audience when we were doing Brookhaven, and I was fighting for the trees. I didn't want them to cut down all those trees. I thought that they should just develop around the trees. And I just want you to know that I understand what it's like to be in the audience, to be part of the town, and it seems like we're not listening to you, but we are. And what the mayor's saying about, you know, the fact that it is wetlands, these people might not be able to build there at all. But by passing this tonight, we save ourselves lawsuits, and it doesn't mean it's going to go in. And the fight hasn't even begun because of what you guys are saying about that land. It can be stopped. But we have to do what we're doing tonight because we have no other choice with the lawsuits and the amount of money and the suing that they're doing. The way to stop them is environmentally. That's what we've got to do. But right now, we have to do what we're doing tonight, and it's been a struggle, and I've studied it, and I've been on your side, and I just want you to know that we hear you, and it's heartbreaking, but it doesn't mean it's over. And with that, I have to vote yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Committeeman Holmes said a lot of truth about being on both sides of the aisle here. I grew up in this town. In 1970, I could walk across 206 without looking. When I was in grade school, I was sent to a different grade school every year. In fact, the bus used to miss me because it wasn't sure what I was on their pickup. I understand what it's like for a town to grow. I understand that there are concerns about what's being built here. But I also took the oath to, for the benefit of the whole township, amongst those, maybe not of the few, which doesn't make it easy. But because of the chance of the builder's remedy and to not lose that, I have to vote yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Agreed on all counts. This is certainly not easy for the Township Committee. This is something the legislature has pushed down to every single township in the state of New Jersey. And as far as land goes, we are not landowners in the big picture. We have bought a parcel of land to help relieve some of that affordable housing obligation that is being forced upon us. And it's unfortunate, but we also are here to fight that fight. We are the last town in Somerset County to come up with the affordable housing numbers, which is why we're now being called by the judge to make the final call. And it is unfortunate, but in the big picture, as Ms. Holmes stated, we do have to move this forward to kind of come to our conclusion on the affordable housing. So with that, we do have to vote yes on the zone change so we can move this forward and then go to the planning board options to see what comes next, quite honestly. So I'll have to vote yes on that.
So not to beat a dead horse here today, but we certainly heard your concerns. You may not believe that, but we did. I've been in front of the judge at least 2 times over the last month, trying to figure out what could be done here. The order that was issued kind of put it into perspective for us. We simply can't risk our immunity being lost because that will just have complete loss of control of any development in the town at all. And I think Committeewoman Holmes actually said it well, in that your fight should not end here. This is the zoning process. This is not the site plan. This is not the discussion of the final building that will go on this site. And I would urge you that, as I'm sure you will, I don't think I have to urge you, to stay involved. And when the site plan is presented at Planning Board, I am sure I will see many of you at that Planning Board session. But for the purposes of what we need to do in order to maintain our immunity and move forward with the affordable housing plan, as Committeewoman McCauley noted, we are the last town in Somerset County that has not yet settled, because we were trying to figure out how we get to the best scenario for all of our residents. We did make an effort here. I know it's of a little consolation to you. But we need to comply with the judge's orders here. And I'm sure I'll see you at when this gets presented at Planning Board. With that, I vote yes. We'll move to ordinance 2019-23, an ordinance authorizing the easement agreement with Hillsborough Village Center LLC for the Hillsborough Park and Ride property located on Amwell Road and identified as Block 178, Lot 3.02 on the Hillsborough Township tax map. Municipal land use law permits the conveyance of easements via ordinance. The Township Attorney has reviewed this and found this conveyance acceptable. May I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
I'm sorry, Mayor, it's to open the public hearing. Sorry.
For adoption.
These are all to open the public hearing.
I'm sorry, may I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Wait, back it up.
This is on for adoption tonight, so we have to open it up for the public hearing?
Yeah.
and-
Right.
Continue, so may I have, all in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed?
Right.
Okay.
Comment.
Any discussion from the dais? Any discussion from the floor? Okay.
Hold on, Frank.
Good evening. Joseph P. Maloney, 27 Stonewood Drive, Hillsborough, New Jersey. I would just like a brief explanation. Is this tied to our town center traffic plan that was discussed and approved? Is that why we're passing this this ordinance?
This is related to actually another affordable housing project that is in the town center area, and it allows for use of a portion of the park and ride for
Got it.
access.
Get out.
Thank you.
Okay. So can I have any other comments from the floor? All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2019-23?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman LaPani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
And Mayor Delcor?
Yes. Ordinance 2019-24 is an ordinance providing for the vacation of a portion of Raider Boulevard located in the Township of Hillsborough, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2019-24?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion from the dais? Any discussion from the floor? I figured you were...
Come on, Joe.
Joseph P. Maloney, 27 Stonewick Drive, Hillsborough, New Jersey. Again, just a brief explanation as to what this ordinance specifically does. And I like vacations, just like all of you definitely need one. So just a brief explanation, please.
Sure. Counselor, can I ask you to just comment on
Sure.
that?
This particular property was actually provided by the developer to the township many years ago in connection with his development application. It was for the purpose of extending Raider Boulevard from the east of the site, but now with the construction of the bypass, the planning department indicates that it is never going to come to fruition. The developer has asked if we would dedicate this back to, vacate it and dedicate it back to him, and that's the purpose of this.
Got it? Okay. Any other discussion from the floor? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2019-24?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Mayor Delcor?
Yes. And we'll move to ordinance 2019-25, which is an ordinance amending, revising, and supplementing Chapter 89 entitled Personnel Policies, Section 896, Time and Attendance, most notably Section 896G, which is transitional duty of the Code of the Township of Hillsborough, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. This ordinance modifies some information in our code relative to transitional duty to ensure it complies with applicable laws and provides accurate information. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2019-25?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion from the dais? From the floor? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2019-25?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Mayor Delcor?
Yes. We have no introduction of new ordinances this evening, so we'll move on to our consent agenda. We had already dealt with
12.
item number 12, so that will be, and we have 16 items on the agenda this evening, so we'll be approving 15. Does anyone on the dais wish to take any of those items separately?
No, Mayor.
Okay, may I have a motion then to approve resolutions 1 through 11 and 13 through 16?
So moved?
Second.
Any comments from the dais?
I'm very happy about 14.
Glad we can make you happy.
Thank you.
Anything else from the dais?
No.
Any comments from the floor on any of those items? Okay, roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Mayor Delcor?
Yes. And we'll move to claims list. Can I have a motion to approve claims list 2019-32?
So moved.
Second?
Comments from the dais? From the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Mayor Delcor?
Yes. And may I have a motion to approve claims list 2019-33?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes.
Mayor Delcor?
Yes. Okay, this concludes our regular meeting. We do have an executive session this evening. Ms. Bork, will you please call the executive session resolution?
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Committee is of the opinion that such circumstances exist. Now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Hillsborough, County, Somerset State, New Jersey, as follows: the public shall be excluded from the discussion of the hearing specified subject matter. Number 2, the general nature subject matter to be discussed as follows: contract negotiations, PBA 205, contract negotiations for the potential litigation, Hillsborough Board of Education. Number 3, the Township Committee may take official action on those items discussing the executive section, but completion of the executive session. Number 4, the minutes shall be made available as soon as it's no longer a sensitive or confidential nature. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thanks. May I have a motion?
So move, Mayor?
Any comments from the dais?
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. And a roll call.
Comments from dais?
Good.
From the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes.
Yes.
Committeeman Lapani.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
And Mayor Delacorte.
Yes, thank you. This concludes our regular meeting this evening. We're going to go into executive session. Good night.